There was a time, not so long ago, when in the middle of the NBA season, no matter how many important games there were that night, the next morning, there was no end of talk about a play, a dunk, a highlight of a player who wasn't even in the league. But that didn't matter, because what we could see from this guy was an animal, something almost never seen before. A player who is less than 2 meters tall, but who exceeds 130 kilos. Now, of course, those 130, he moved them like a locomotive, a real wild boar. The most beastly bully both in high school and in college. Never before had a player of 130 kilos scored so much in physique that was not a P-bug. They were talking about the never-seen-before, the new LeBron, a player ahead of his time, a physique from another planet. Today on this channel, Zion Williamson. And summer is here. I may not be as active these days. It's my turn to enjoy myself and take a dip or two. What the hell? But don't worry, I won't leave you without glass in the summer. Even if there is no league, there are always things to talk about in the best league in the world. Of course there are. That's why it's very important that you subscribe so you know when I upload video, it's free, and you give me life. But beyond that, you are here for a reason. If you're here, it's because you're asking yourself the same question I am. What's up with Zion Williamson? What happened to the biggest basketball up-and-comer in recent years? The #1 pick with the most hype in recent memory. Obviously, every year there are kids coming out that go with hype as hell. But admit that Zion's explosion was brutal. Well, actually, as far as statistics go, Zion has made his mark in the short time he's been on the track. And even more so if you look at the advanced stats. Zion is among the league's absolute elite in offensive efficiency. As we see here, when he has been able to play for real, which was in the league season, the #1 pick was able to play a total of 61 games. And look where he ranks. He is at the same level as Mid, Carey, Trae Young, LeBron. That's not much, is it? Obviously, we are talking about a specific season. Moreover, iterating on the detail of the field goal percentage, something that really shows the physical superiority of Zion. That with his physicality, he manages to score points near the rim, at the collision and by power. Besides that, let's see, without being something crazy, he's a guy with a pretty good IQ, and above all, he's not the kind of guy who throws his shoes around. That's why he's so good at shooting efficiency. In fact, if we look up the players with the best percentage in history in a single season, having taken at least 200 shots or more, we find Zion in the #10 spot. And yes, there's a lot of pivot here. A lot of guy who 99% of his shots have been either dunks or very close to the rim. If we're looking for the same thing, but who have at least made 10 three-pointers all season, look, there's only 3 left. Jackson Hayes, Thomas Bryan, and Zion. Obviously, there are no old ones, because in the past, the ones who had the best percentage in field goals made them all from close range and didn't even shoot three-pointers. But let's take a closer look. Zion has more than 60% shooting more than twice as much as them. So, let's do one thing. If we count on them having shot 1,000 shots or more, boom. Of course, to all this, maintaining having made at least 10 three-pointers. Something I wanted to highlight so you can see what a complete player he is, and how well he marks the innovation of basketball in this type of player. Well, let's do one thing. Let's remove that condition. No three-pointers. Come on, let him battle with the most dominant centers in history, with the best finishers that ever lived. Okay, well, look at this. That's right, above Shaq. He's the only player in history to have over 60% shooting from the field over Shaq, Chris Webber, Duncan, and the list goes on. In fact, that's where he is in that season. His second season in the league. Clearly, this is a special player, and that's undeniable. In fact, look at these numbers. Let's compare the second season in LeBron and Zion's career. Let's see what comes out. Okay, so we have Zion Williamson with 27 points per game, 4 assists, 7 rebounds. With that 61% shooting from the field, we have LeBron with 27 points also, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. But with 47% shooting from the field. Not bad, huh? So where's the problem? Well, Zion is going into his 5th season in the league and has only been able to play normally for 1 year. The rest, injuries, and more injuries. For the moment, Zion's biggest enemy has been none other than Zion himself. His own body cannot withstand such power, and from the looks of it, neither can his own shoes. a career completely overshadowed by injuries, and a player who seems doomed to eternal promise. In these 4 seasons, he has been able to play only 114 games out of a possible 328. He does not even reach the sad 35%. That is to say, if we look at what he has charged these 4 years, it comes out to $409,000 per game. In addition, they signed him to a maximum that he's going to start getting paid this coming season, which will go up year after year to 44 per year in the 27-28 season. Very beastly. Let's see. I pay this to a healthy Zion. But to a player who on average in 4 seasons has not even played 30 games, what am I doing paying him that amount? He has to be paid more than $200 million in 5 years. I don't see the math. In fact, if we compare him to the most recent #1 PICs, he has played the fewest games. And that's on names like Ben Simmons, who is an early vice. But hey, it's also true that for what Simmons has done lately, it's almost better that he would have stayed home.
Bruh.
But, well, that's beside the point. Simmons I'd have to talk about as well. Let me know in the comments if you'd be afraid I'd make a video about him, and we'll see. If injuries weren't enough of a burden for good old Zion, a controversy has arisen lately that I can't help but talk about, but I'll comment a bit above. Quite a bit of limelight. Look for the kettle up there as to give him even more of a ball. The thing is, in case you haven't heard, Zion posted on networks that he was going to be a father. And this woman, Moria Miles, actress Nopor and the OnlyFans and well, of that world, claims that she has had encounters with Zion beyond the friendly. In fact, she claims she has sex tapes of the two of them together, and he's on what looks like a major extortion campaign towards the player, who at the moment denies everything. This one is getting heavy, but really heavy. In 3 days, she wrote a whopping 54,000 messages with the word Zion in networks. To tell the truth, I am one of those who think that if the river sounds, it carries water. And I have the feeling that there is some truth in what he says. What the hell is she doing tattooing Zion's name on her face? She's a real pain in the ass. Well, anyway, for the moment, only the two of them know the truth, and I don't give a damn what happened. They will know, but I am commenting on this move because it may affect the non-professional. Because in the end, Zion, between being more injured than playing, and now with this controversy that is really tarnishing his name, makes the franchise is considering to get rid of Zion's contract. Because on top of that, he is still injured, and no one really knows for how long or how serious the injury is. So the longer they wait, maybe the less value Zion is going to have on the market. There is a lot of buzz around the player and possible transfers, and those are signs that there is a disparity of opinion in New Orleans management. They are not at all clear. At the moment, silence rules the issue. But the injury issue has me worried. There is total secrecy from the franchise regarding the injury, and that worries me more than anything else. It's not a good sign. It's up to Zion to leave his name at the top of history. A player called to be the relay of the greatest, who for the moment has failed to reach the expected level. And therefore, he is being a complete failure as #1 of the draft. And as a player who is going to become one of the highest paid in the league, what would you do? Do you keep Zion now for fear that he will break it on another team right after you trade him? Or do you trade him as soon as possible to alleviate salary dough before it's too late?